En América estamos transmitiendo desde Hermosa 1470 AM y 96.9 FM. Les habla Lilia Galindo, tengo al doctor Jordan Goines del Distrito Escolar de Lancaster. Para todos aquellos que tienen niños o que van a ingresar a esa escuela, pues le vamos a dar la información. Good morning, Dr. Goines.
Good morning. How's everybody doing?
We are doing very well, thank you. We are very happy to have you here. My first question I want to ask you, because I believe it's so important. How is attendance in there?
Okay, so we are doing actually pretty good, pretty decent on attendance right now. Kids are showing up more than they have been, but it's still not where we want it to be. We have we've been speaking a lot about in board meetings and in community meetings about how we need to get kids on campuses. We're working with the city of Lancaster with some ideas to be able to help us support some more safe routes to schools, to make sure that there's more, at least the safety side of that is working in. But we also need to educate parents over the fact that COVID it's not a done deal. However, we still need to make sure that they're getting their kids to school, and we can assess whether kids are really sick or whether they need to really go home once they get there. But we really need to make sure that the parents are getting their kids to school.
Le estoy preguntando cómo es la asistencia de los alumnos a la escuela. Dice que han mejorado, pero todavía no están en el nivel que ellos desean. Han estado hablando con la ciudad de Lancaster para asegurarse de que tengan más seguridad los niños, que tengan que caminar a la escuela y para que ya puedan regresar. Dice, todavía continuamos con el COVID, pero nosotros podemos ayudar a evaluar si el niño puede estar en la clase o no. Es importantísimo que vayan a la escuela. I was talking about attendance yesterday, and I was telling them, if the children don't go to school since they are little boys, girls, they are going to have a lot of problems. They are not going to finish school because that is what you are building. No, if you don't teach your children to be on time and to be every single day there, they are going to have a lot of problems when they go to higher education. They are not going to continue, and they are going to go in bad.
So there's, and I agree roads. I think we all agree with that, but we agree with that particular piece. Making sure you're on time, like that punctuality, and making sure you show up. Showing up is half the battle in anything you do, right?
80% of success is to be there,
just being there,
and on time.
And if you're even, it's half the time you don't even know how often I've been in the right place at the right time, and that's allowed me to like move into different positions and different things just successfully within my own career. And I know that that's true of many people. I mean, Hollywood, it happens all the time too. In our particular case, what we've been really talking to families about and have been getting into the community and asking the question about was, why have you not? What's keeping you from sending your kids to school? And we've put in. There's a lot of perceptions that families have right now, and I think it's not just in Lancaster, it's universal. It's probably something that's going from one place to the next. Some of those issues are they don't feel safe getting their kids to school, like the walking to school piece is not great all the time. Some of our schools with the highest attendance issues are the schools that have the longer routes to school. Busing is kind of an issue right now in getting kids there, but even then, it's the getting their kids, just sometimes getting their kids up and out of the school, especially in the middle schools. Upper grades, the older a kid gets, the more it turns into sitting on the kid as to whether they're going to wake up for school, and the parents just don't like it. Sometimes they just don't want to fight with the children about getting kids to school. But we realize that that's a fight worth having, in making sure that your kid shows up to school on a consistent every day and making sure that they're getting there. So we're trying to retrain parents in that particular place as well.
Estamos hablando de la asistencia de los niños, porque es tan importante que los niños vayan desde muy pequeñitos a la escuela y entiendan que el 80% del éxito es estar en el lugar que tienes que estar y estar a tiempo. Y en la escuela es tan importante porque son los hábitos que le va a crear para el futuro de su vida. Entonces dice que han estado analizando a qué se debe. Dice, es un problema que no solo existe ahorita a nivel local, pero a nivel estatal en muchas otras escuelas están pasando por el mismo problema y estamos analizando cómo podemos resolverlo. Dice, por ejemplo, uno de los problemas es el que tienen que caminar a la escuela y algunos padres no sienten que sea seguro. También hay problemas con los estudiantes que van a grados más avanzados, que tienen que usar rutas más largas para llegar a la escuela. Entonces, todos esos problemas se están tratando de analizar para ver cómo se resuelven, pero es importantísimo que ustedes mismos como padres traten de analizar el problema para ver cómo se puede resolver. So, what do we do then?
So right now, one of our schools right now is really piloting, and we've got a couple schools doing things that are, kind of under that where it's happening, but it's not happening formally. But one of our schools is actually formally working with the city right now to build in something called a walking school bus, which is a bunch of kids walking to school together, and this kind of alleviates that fear of sending their kid out into the into the wild, for a mile and a half or a mile or wherever however far it might be from home to school. And that's one of the pieces that we're doing. Another one is another school's looking at working on bike trains, so that there's a bunch of kids in line riding their bikes to school together safely.
Oh, that is really good.
So I mean, we do have schools doing some innovative things, and we have some people, and that a lot of that's come, to be honest with you, as a result of some of the work we've done with the city of Lancaster in trying to build safer environments. And I just got off a call yesterday with some pretty with some innovators in the city about the possibility of beautification of some areas some areas as well, so that we can start really focusing on how we can make that walk a pleasant walk, or making that ride a pleasant ride, or making sure that kids have the opportunity to be able to really feel safe, but then on top of that have something pretty to look at.
Enjoy the walk into the school. Do you know, I'm so happy to hear that these kind of things. Se está trabajando muy de cerca con la ciudad de Lancaster para hacer más tolerable el tener que caminar a la escuela, ¿no? Una de las cosas que se han hecho es organizar grupos de niños para que todos juntos caminen a la escuela, y se sientan más seguros los padres. También se están organizando idas en bicicleta, o sea, llegar a la escuela en bicicleta con un grupo colectivo, pero asegurándose de que lleguen a la escuela totalmente sanos, ¿no? Sin ningún problema de que a veces uno está temeroso de usar bicicletas aquí. Se está tratando también de crear un ambiente más atractivo a través de programas de hacer más bellas las rutas por donde van los niños caminando a la escuela, para que se sientan además contentos de tener que ir a la escuela, porque ven muchas cosas bonitas cuando van pasando. Well, do you know, this is a great thing, and you are doing this only with one school, huh?
We're working on it with a couple of schools. We're really putting a lot of emphasis in one area just right now, just because we want to make sure we get it off the ground and making sure it gets done really, really well. Once it's done really, really well, we know we can take that, replicate it from one place to the next, and be able to make sure that it's something that's consistent and something that's fit for the actual community that we're actually working in.
You know, I think this is an excellent opportunity to get exercising children, because walking, you walk, no, because you are going to feel so much happier if Absolutely. You go to school like, oh, I just use my bike for 10 or 15 minutes. I feel more energetic. I always believe that exercise is a great opportunity.
It gets the brain working earlier in the morning too. I mean, it's almost like the earlier you start your day, you get through all of that early emotional stuff that you got to get through. The grief of waking up in the morning sometimes is not always easy. But once you get through it, it gets you to a point of acceptance of where you need to be, and that kind of supports the learning system, the learning pieces.
Bueno, este programa se está implementando todavía en pocas escuelas. Se están tratando de perfeccionarlo para luego implementarlo en todas las demás escuelas. Pero se trata de crear un medio ambiente seguro, y que todos los niños sientan felices. Le digo que para mí es una excelente idea el tenerlos andando en bicicleta o caminando, porque ese ejercicio te ayuda no solamente para sentirte mejor, pero además hasta para maybe even they can lose some weight for those who are exceeding weight. También el ejercicio ayuda a bajar de peso si están excedidos, porque now many children don't exercise at all. And it's so cold. Besides that, is another factor that is impacting also these kind of things. No?
The Antelope Valley, for whatever reason, it keeps getting colder and colder during these winter months. other pieces that we're actually focusing on with that, because we do want to make sure that we get the kids as active as possible. We are building in those. The kids are getting a consistent PE regimens as they're getting to school. A lot of that time is we tried to set it earlier in the day, just to make sure that they have the opportunity. So that also supports what you're talking about.
Can you repeat? I didn't
Well,
understand it.
like we try to push some of the earlier use of physical education and trying to get kids to get blood moving and get things moving forward, because that's something that actually is we do find that to be important.
Very, very good. Además, se está tratando de promover que los niños se realicen un poco de ejercicio para sentirse más motivados a empezar sus clases. Es algo en lo que hemos estado insistiendo y se está tratando de implementar en el Distrito Escolar de Lancaster. Well, now I can give you to say whatever you want, and maybe we can talk a little bit later about the early Head Start program for.
Oh yeah, we have stuff too. Wanted to make sure that there's a couple of really important things that are coming up over the next couple of months. We need to make sure, because we're starting to get to the point. I know families are like, "Well, you're sitting in February, or you're in the beginning of March. You're still in the middle of the school year." Well, actually, we're in the process of finishing the school year at this point. So we're in that March, April, May time frame where things start to shut down and we start putting things to bed and start planning for the next. Or we've been planning for the next school year to make sure we're set for the 23-24 school year. Couple things are happening. First of all, registrations are starting to pop off in the next couple of days. So
Wow.
we need to make sure that families are aware. You can go to our Welcome and Wellness Center. You can start the process of registering your kid. You're going to get emails coming soon. Be on the lookout to make sure that you're knowing that registration is coming. And what we're trying to do in Lancaster is try to keep kids. We're trying to kind of build that community school feel. So we're going to be trying to maintain students who are living in neighborhoods going to their community schools. So don't be surprised by that, because that's something that's possibly going to be coming around very soon. On
But
top,
it's not like that already?
so it is, but it's not. So it's like, in the past, it's been in a position. Parents have been in a position where they can opt to go to, if you're not at this school, you can opt to go to that if you want to go to that school. In this particular way, one of the things that we've been trying to do is formalize a system across our district where we've got very intriguing and great offerings across the district, and we're trying to formalize that at each and every school so that those intriguing offerings for kids exist everywhere. So you go from one place to the next, you still get a really good, solid education.
Perfecto. Bueno, pues dice que muy pronto se van a abrir, ya en un par de semanas, las inscripciones para el siguiente año escolar, que deben de estar pendientes. Pueden ir al centro de bienvenida para obtener información, y ahora se va a tratar en este siguiente año escolar, de juntar a todos los niños que viven en una área para que vayan a la escuela que les corresponde. Dice, porque se había dispersado un poco cuando se les daba la libertad de escoger entre una y otra escuela, y en esta se pretende juntarlos a todos y implementar nuevos programas.